Hang on, we're gonna wait till we're officially.
Okay, so that's recording.
It is recording. All right, let's get started here. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call.
Councilmember Crompton,
Excuse me.
Emmeline Baker. Here. Farrell. Here. Happy.
Here.
Keller.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Mayor Fallon.
Here. All right, line to additions and amendments to the agenda. We do have a,
I know, it's a very weird position. Yeah,
you filled out a form for,
I know.
on section 2, so.
Okay, the reason why I felt the need to be able to speak on number 2, additions and amendments to the agenda, because item 6B, future of yard debris collection program, should be in section 7 because it is a discussion item. This is not a clear action item, so nobody knows what you're gonna do. And according to your council procedures, on page 4 of 18, number 6, action items. So you have your staff report, then you have public comment, then you make a motion, and you have council discussion, and then you have a vote. Well, I can't comment on what I don't know you're going to, on the motion that you're gonna make, because that would come after me approaching the council. So this needs to be more clearly an action item on the agenda, and right now it's just discussion because there's no action item here. You're just discussing what the future of yard debris is, and the citizens have no say in it, because once you make your motion, then citizens can't make any discussion on what you're gonna do. So this happened before when you had the discussion, what should have been a discussion about the forms to use for Jordan, the city administrator evaluation form. You did that too. There was not really a clear action. So you made the motion and we were left out of the discussion because the motion came after we could speak. So I would ask that you would move 6B down to 7, because there's no action. And there's no way that I can address before your motion how to say something about your motion, because I don't know what your motion is gonna be. Thank you.
Okay, number 3, adoption of consent agenda.
We have any additions or amendments to the agenda?
There,
I have a question though.
sure.
I'd like to request to change the agenda to add under 7, discussion on the city charter review committee. Is that something that we can put in here, or do we need to give public notice and put it on next?
No, as long as it's council consensus, then we can add it right now.
Is that consensus?
Sure.
Okay, so city charter? Any other amendments? Okay, hearing there's none.
Now with
Oh.
what Ms. Pruitt said,
Mm-hmm.
at this time, do we make a motion to move 7 or 6B down to 7?
Correct.
Yes.
And I move that we move 6B down to reports and presentations.
Okay, is that consensus of council?
How long are we gonna keep talking about this
Yeah.
before we actually make a resolution? We do have some recommended council options on the back of it. Was the goal to actually have more direction for Mr. Bennett at the conclusion of the meeting today? Is that why that's under action item?
Yes,
Mhm.
like I said in my report, it really is an administrative function, but given the discussion itself and the nature and the community involvement, I've asked to get a consent from council to move forward. But it's not a legislative item, it's not an approval for a bid, it's really just an administrative action trying to get consensus from council.
I see that 6B appears to be clear to me as an action item. I don't know what is unclear about it.
So the title itself, which says future yard debris opens it up to, we're continuing it. if it was an action item, you should have put like closure of yards free program.
It's not clear what the action is.
Yeah.
It's just open-ended by saying a future.
Okay, but in the minutes, you did give, in your report, Jordan, you did give options of what you wanted council to,
Yes,
Vote on.
yes, staff's recommendation, yes.
okay. So we need a consensus either to move 6B down to 7 or stay with the agenda, but it's gotta be a consensus if we move it.
Because it's not an actual vote, it can be moved to section 7, as long as I get some kind of direction by the end of this meeting.
I think that makes sense.
And would direction be a consensus or?
Yes, consensus of council, yes.
So you don't want us to vote on this?
Unless council wants to do a formal vote, but again, it's administrative function. That because of the nature of it and the community input, I felt I needed direction from council to move forward.
So is you wanna move it to 6B, move it down to, it'd be 7D?
Yeah. Moving forward.
Yes?
Okay, that feels like enough direction.
All right, so we need a motion with the amendments.
Would you not have the motion from Butch already?
Well- It's been pieced, so we need one,
I think
Move to-
See, second.
We move to move item,
no, we're doing the additions amendments, so the agenda vote to with the changes.
okay, so we already made the change,
Yes.
then we need a motion to
Yes.
approve the.
With the changes,
Yes.
Got it.
both changes.
All right, so I
Okay.
move to approve the amended consent agenda,
By moving 6B to,
6B to 7D.
I second.
and
And add the discussion on city charter review committee.
To 7C.
yes. City charter will be C, D will be yard debris.
I still second.
Okay, vote,
Councilmember, Emmerling Baker,
Aye.
Farrell,
Aye.
Happy,
Aye.
Keller,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mayor Fallon.
aye, okay. Here we go. Let's see. 4, parents of interested citizens to share a variety of perspectives. Ms. Brenda Wood.
All right, guys, I'm Brenda Wood, and I coordinate your,
We didn't do the consent agenda.
Oh, for God's sakes. Hold on, Brenda, hold on. Just sit there tight. Just hold on. Need a motion for the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda, including the approval of the April 8th, 2024 city council meeting minutes, April 8th, 2024 city council workshop minutes, and ratification of bills in the amount of $113,561.07.
For a second,
I second.
discussion? All right, vote?
Councilmember Emmerling Baker,
Aye.
Farrell,
Aye.
Happy,
Aye.
Keller,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mayor Fallon.
Aye, passes. All right,
all right,
now,
now, I'm
Section
Brenda
4.
Wood still, and I coordinate the citywide community garage sales. It's happening this weekend, April 26th through 28th, from 9 to 5. There are some sales that are staying open later, some open earlier. But I want to give a big shout out to everybody that's participating. We have 34 homes that have made it for registration. There's always more than that, but that are on the map. And I wanted to shout out to the port. They work very hard at making this a community event. They permit our banners that fly on the bridge. That is a permitted process. They hang our banners. They did all of our printing. And they did all of our designing. And a big shout out to the Port of Cascade Locks for that. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, Ms. Tiffany Pruitt.
Okay. I have a couple things. Jordan, you have those pictures?
I can bring them up. 1 second. So I guess I should clarify, I'm sure if you're gonna provide them or not.
Oh, I, no, it's a-
Yeah.
no.
Oh, come on. There we go.
Yeah, street issue here. Okay, so, I just want to bring to the council's attention that this is what regulator looks like on a busy weekend. Actually, this is kind of mild. Usually it's on both sides and there's parking in the parking lot at the bottom. Can you show the other picture too? And this is my concern. In the summer, it's like this all the time, and, fire apparatus is not gonna be able to get up our street to get to our house or get to the houses up above regulator. So, I've asked Jordan to look into putting signage on one side. I think he's still looking into that. I'm not sure if that's a planning commission thing. I'm not sure what it is, but this is gonna be a problem all summer long because, you know, that's what we want, is we want tourism, but then we have no parking. And I don't know if the council can't encourage Port to maybe drop their prices for parking in the park on the weekend when they have these big events to, make it more livable for the citizens. But I wish that the council would have that discussion. Because, I mean, we talk about how minutes count, every second counts when it's an emergency, and, you know, if the fire department can't turn off that road to get to my house, you know, they'll have to go down, they'll have to keep going down roads until they can, and it happens down farther on other roads as well. So it would just be really nice to see if we can't just get parking on one side of the road, on that side, and like, I mean, I know that there's absolutely nobody here to enforce it, but some people might follow the rules. I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's frustrating. So, and then I did not know that you were going to have a charter review committee, and all I want to say, first I want to say thank you for moving the one item. And in the future, if we could like put in action, what the action is that's going to be taken instead of having a discussion during action items. And you have 3 vacancies and you have 3 applications for the charter review committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Courtney.
Can we move it to the charter review since that is my topic?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Okay, that's all the ones, am I missing any? This is for Stacy. Okay, public hearing?
No public hearing.
Okay, action items. Okay, approve ordinance 458.
All right, the planning commission at their January 11th meeting met to discuss a code amendment following a longer time frame, allowing a longer time frame for temporary vendor cards to operate in the city of Cascade Locks, realizing that further review would take place during the full code review process that will be starting later this year. The planning commission held a public hearing on March 14th to consider testimony regarding CDC amendments to Article 1 definitions, which will add a definition to the CDC to define temporary retail and service use in Article 5, amending the language in 8-6.148.020 parentheses H, applicability of provisions. The planning commission received 3 written submittals for testimony and had 1 member in the audience that testified. City council held a public hearing on April 8th to consider the testimony regarding CDC amendments to Article 1 definitions, which will add a definition to CDC defining temporary retail service use. And Article 5, amending the language in 8-6.148.020 parentheses H, applicability of provisions. After receiving testimony from the public and council discussion, there were no changes to the planning commission's recommendations as forwarded to city council and prepared an ordinance number 458. City council had 2 readings by title only of ordinance number 458 at the April 8th meeting. The votes of the ordinance number 458 were 5 voting in favor, 1 opposed, and 1 abstaining. Since the vote was not unanimous, city council will be reading and voting again on ordinance number 458 at this time. Is any member of council opposed to reading the ordinance by title only with substantial changes as well? Okay, I will read the by title only and the substantial changes. Ordinance number 458. An ordinance amending the Community Development Code, CDC, as adopted by ordinance number 350, by amending Article 1 definitions and Article 5 development review. Substantial changes are Chapter 8-6.08 of the Community Development Code is amended by adding a new section, 8-6.08.020 definition of specific terms, temporary retail and service activity, a retail or service use operating from a single temporary structure, including but not limited to a truck, trailer, or tent. Second substantial change is 8.6, or it should be 8-6.148.020. H, applicability of provisions, a temporary retail and service use in a commercial zoning district shall be permitted without site plan review or conditional use approval, provided it does not operate for more than 360 days. This provision only applies to a single or two such use clustered together. A cluster of 3 or more temporary retail and service uses is subject to the provisions of this chart.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve 458? No, wait. Public comment. Let's see, where are we at? 6. You've turned in so many, I forget. You're up. 6A.
Can't tell them apart. Come on now. Tiffany Pruitt.
You got it.
The only thing that I would ask council to consider again is that what remediation does a citizen have if they're noisy or an unsightly or obnoxious neighbor to have? There's nothing in this ordinance that gives them any leeway, anything, any help if there's a problem. So that's the only thing I would ask that you consider. Thank you.
Thank you.
What number? What number are you calling?
Is it on this one? Hold that thought. We have one more. Hold on, we have one more. Okay, Shauna, state your name.
I'm Shauna Sabowski. Do I sit down? Does it
Yes.
matter?
We have 4 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay.
You have to do a jig.
I'll dance. So I just wanted to reference a couple of things. I think the noise thing, I think to me, it seems like it would be, that would be the case with any business, correct? I mean, and, yeah, I don't know. I'd maybe not be totally ready to speak right now, but I think there's so much potential of growth with allowing this code to change and to shift and how good it'll be for the community. I think that, I agree with her. It's very important that we, that it's a sightly situation, all of the above. So, I just really wanted to speak, I own Kailea Coffee Co. and I've been down there and I work really hard. And it is just, it's a big deal to allow, this change. There are communities from all the way over there to all the way in, the Dells and our surrounding areas where it's allowed year round and everywhere. So we're just really far behind in that sense as far as food trucks go. So I just really hope that you consider it as, a good thing for this town. And that again, I think, it gives a smaller business an opportunity to start somewhere and then grow. And hopefully one day, have a brick and mortar or whatever. So I think it's just a really good way to get small businesses in the door for growth. So, yeah, that's it. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, check my staff. All right, now we're good. So now looking for a motion to approve.
I move to approve CDC amendment. How do we state this?
Ordinance 458.
That's all we need is my motion to approve ordinance 458.
I motion to approve ordinance 458.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, discussion. Any discussion?
Thank you for speaking. I appreciate that we have your little business way at that end of town, gets people up and down Wanapa. We have some businesses there. And I've heard food carts came, I believe, at the Earth Day, and I think they're gonna come for, our tourism committee might have scheduled some for the garage sale days too, so that's great. Again, I do think it is, helpful in moving forward. And also, the noise ordinances or other ordinances, hopefully will be covered by our current business ordinances. I know we've had noise complaints, we've had, so that should hopefully work for our code enforcement. It's great that we have code enforcement now. So hopefully that will work. And we do have a complaint process at the city to deal with that.
Any other discussion, Councilman Miller?
I still don't like the fact that the rules and regulations are gonna come after the fact. That, yeah, you're gonna allow them first, and then you're going to add rules onto it later. You're gonna have trouble there, because people can set in the way they're working, and there may be changes they have to do, and they're gonna come out and say, hey, this is the way we all did it. You know, how do you dispose of the gray water? How do you hook up your electricity? Portland at this time is now is looking to require them to be hooked up to the city sewer. So that's my only complaint about it, is rules after the fact. You're just asking for a big, more trouble.
Councilman Keller?
Mr. Miller, we are a group. We are the council of Cascade Locks. And when you say you will have a problem, we collectively are making this decision. You are expressing your opinion. You are going to vote to your opinion, but ultimately we are responsible for this. It is not a you issue.
And I just want to remind council, as well as the 458, the reason why there is a limited time on the 360 days, if that's why someone, because we do need specific provisions, you know, things that Councilman Miller brought up. However, that takes a lot of time and whatnot. So with this 360 day, it doesn't allow a food cart to be grandfathered in to say, oh, well, we've always done it this way. Nope, this is the rule. So when we do the code updates and everything, all of our ordinances, then we can really get into the weeds, the nitty gritty of all that. But for right now, this will fix it. Right now, it does not allow somebody to be grandfathered in. So that's the beauty of it. That's the reason why the 360 days. Councilman, member happy?
And I think one of the, also having this annual review, if we have bad actors that are, leaving refuse, or they're making noise, or they're not disposing of their gray water, properly, and we've had code enforcement action taken against them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would expect that at that point, we could not renew them for the following year, correct?
Correct.
And that's why we have it there, so that we can, I guess, hold people accountable to making sure that they're following the CDCs. As has been brought up by other people on council, food trucks are really kind of a great intermediary step to try to help with the downtown revitalization. We can't just get to where we want to go all in one fell swoop. We're gonna have to take some intermediary steps. talking to people in the community that we all live in, people want more diversity for food options. They want more places where they can go. I'm looking at, our crime statistics. If you look at our crime stats, our numbers are going down, and I believe a lot of that is due to economic development. I think that this is a good way to encourage economic development, and this is a way to address one of the other primary concerns of people in the community about safety. So it all kind of ties together, and I'd rather encourage businesses through policy to come to our community as a way to discourage criminal activity as opposed to wasting more money on policing. So I feel like these things are all kind of tied together.
Thank you for that, and I'm reminded, I presume we have wastewater codes, development codes, we have trailer courts, and we have,
Yes.
so. Again, encouraging our citizenry to pay attention and report violations, as we heard last meeting. Somebody reported possibly raw sewage being dumped, so black water waste, by a resident along the creek. So that would make sense, to encourage, should there be bad actors, and obviously for the time being, most of our food carts are gonna be on somebody's property, so they'll have to get permission, so there will be presumably oversight from the property owner, and I agree with you, I've seen the stats, the more infill there is in a downtown or activity, the reduction in crime, and I currently noticed today, speaking to a gentleman that likes to sit in the viewpoint area, I noticed a little homeless camp behind the old fire station. And I said, oh, is that somebody there or is that just garbage? And he said, no, somebody comes and goes. And I think that wouldn't happen if that old fire station had an occupant there. But I need to get that into code enforcement because I saw that, so.
Separate issue.
Yeah, so it's a separate issue, but it dawned on me if that building, and I said it out loud, if that building were viable, I don't think that would happen.
Any other comments? Councilman Bemmer?
So when someone with a new food cart comes in, they're told it'll be really clear, so maybe something that they're signing that they have 360 days. And will we be able to also on that same thing, let them know what our code, our noise hours are, or anything else that would
We
be
can, yes.
helpful? I think if that would help us too, if we needed to do some type of enforcement later, we could come back and say, you were told this when you came in, this is our hours, you're breaking whatever you signed.
Okay. Councilmember Happy?
Is there anything that would preclude somebody from opening up a food vendor cart in a residential neighborhood? I mean, are they restricted to only commercial use?
Commercial zone only.
So, thank you.
Good question. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, Harriet, there isn't any. Let's have a vote.
Councilmember Emmeline Baker,
Aye.
Farrell,
I
Happy,
Aye.
Keller,
Abstain.
Miller,
No,
Mayor Fallon.
Aye. So ordinance 458 passes.
It will go into effect 30 days from today.
Okay,
There's 30-day waiting period.
okay. Move 60, so now let's go to committee appointments. Downtown Plan Advisory Committee.
All right, applications have been submitted via the University of Oregon's application portal for the advisory committee. I want to remind council that the ideal number was 12 members for this committee. 9 of them are direct stakeholders for downtown, which means run a business, rent property, own property in the downtown area, and then 3 members at large. This has been kind of outside normal procedures using the U of O portal system. If council would like, I can have those applicants fill out a formal city application process. And that way we can table this discussion if you want. That concern was brought to me by staff earlier this week that those forms were not completed. So again, up to council, more than welcome to approve them tonight, or we can table it and I can have them fill out the formal applications.
Councilmember Happy?
Is there information that's on our form of request that's not collected through the online form? portal?
Correct, yes. Much more detail about, residents' information, why they want to be part of the committee, their experience within other committees.
So it's similar to the other, all the other committee.
Yes.
Same. form.
It's the same form, yeah, you would just check other and then write in, advisory committee for the downtown plan.
Councilmember Baker?
Clarification, is this a City of Cascade Locks Advisory Committee or a committee of the University of Oregon?
No, this is a City of Cascade Locks Advisory Committee.
So I want to make sure that we are meeting what we say in our charter about committees.
So they all filled out, these individuals filled out a form.
Yes, sir.
It's like
They
not
did the portal that University of Oregon set up, but not our official form.
procedures, maybe council procedures.
You saw the comment, Mr. Miller?
I was wanting to know if it was on their portal, was it on any of the city's portals?
We posted on Facebook and there should be a link on the website.
Instead of having to fill out the form, they just went to the U of O's portal to fill out their online forms. So the discussion is, do we have them resubmit using the form on our website so it's consistent with every other committee?
Correct, yes.
Councilmember Farrell?
Could you remind me when the committee's actually supposed to start?
Well, I was hoping first half of May, but we're also short half of what we're looking for. I've been struggling to get members to apply. I've gone and handed out flyers, I've emailed, and I'm struggling. I mainly focused on actual businesses downtown, but looking at the idea of those that live maybe a block up, or I guess south of Wanapa, because those residents, as we saw by the street parking, are affected by this as well. So it's not just business owners, but residents within walking distance of downtown to try and fill that 12-person goal.
Councilmember Happy.
On the interest of time, I propose that we table this in for the next council meeting. Get the 9 people that have already applied to fill out the form, so it's consistent with what people have done before, and hopefully get a few more applicants as well. The people that have currently expressed interest in joining that committee, are they all business owners? Do we have any residents that are in that neighborhood?
So the 6 listed, 3 of them are business owners, 3 of them are community members at large that do not live near the downtown area that I'm aware of.
So maybe trying to encourage more participation from downtown residents, that would be more.
Correct, if that's the direction council would like to go. So the original intent was just business owners. But if we want to go up the hill a little bit to residents, might get more participation.
Councilmember Baker.
I agree with Councilman Happy that we should follow the guidelines in our procedures about committees, that they shall submit the application to the mayor, shall appoint. But is this something that you want council to help look for downtown businesses?
Yes,
or-
please.
Okay. Because I heard that a representative Judah from the grocery was gonna apply, but apparently
Yeah,
not.
this is the list that I've gotten. Yep.
And there's realtors, there's other business owners, so we know them, I suppose.
There might be some food vendors.
Reach out.
Councilmember Farrell.
Have any applications been denied?
No.
No. So would it be consensus of council to move this to the next meeting?
And to put out the application or the call for application in our usual format.
And then the individuals listed.
Yes, I'll reach back out to them.
Perfect. Okay. Move that. And now we're on to 7, reports and presentations. 7A, committee report.
No committee reports tonight.
Okay. And then B, 7B. City Administrator Bennett report.
Okay, let's see here. Counselor Happy had mentioned earlier, crime stats, definitely seem to be going down year to year. The number of kind of property theft, burglary crimes seem to be consistent though. The total number of calls and cases have gone down significantly in the last 2 years. FEMA disaster declaration, the federal government formalized a disaster declaration for the ice storm that occurred in January. This will allow the city to apply for reimbursement for the funds spent related to the storm. We are still several weeks or months away from receiving any funds if we are awarded them, so we probably won't receive them until the next fiscal year. And the vast majority of what the city will be requesting is to recoup the roughly $70,000 to have the lineman crew on standby for 9 days.
Awesome.
Recreational immunity, the city attorney, Cleveland has submitted a memo regarding recreational immunity and the city's ability to opt into the state's enhanced protections. With a consensus of council, staff will work to develop a resolution to opt into the enhanced protections from the state. In your packet was that memo from, Attorney Cleveland, I'll read, would council like me to read the memo?
Go ahead and read it.
I'm getting, yes, I'm getting shakes and nods, so I'll go ahead and read it. The background, recreational immunity against negligence claims arising from personal injury or property damage from the use of a trail or structures in unapproved right-of-ways or public easements is provided for in ORS 105.668. The legislature recently made changes to the statute that allows cities with fewer than 500,000 residents to opt in for greater protections under the statute. This memo is to present that opt-in option to the city council. Analysis, opting into the greater protections of ORS 105.668 may be done by resolution or ordinance. Opting in is highly recommended because ORS 105.668 immunity is broader than the recreational immunity already extended to the city through other statutes, and it will provide immunity for negligent claims arising out of personal injuries or property damage resulting from any use, so as long as the use is of a trail or structure in any unapproved right-of-way or easement. Furthermore, the language of ORS 105.668 provides immunity to a city's officers, employees, and agents, which has been eroded by recent court decisions. Conclusion, council should adopt a resolution opting into the enhanced protections of ORS 105.668. The background of this, I don't think I've talked about it too much in past council meetings, is one of the coastal cities, Newport, Cannon Beach, one of them had an unimproved trail leading from hotels to the beach. Somebody tripped, broke their ankle, sued the city because it was an unimproved trail. It was meant for recreation. They used it as getting from point A to point B. They went all the way to the state Supreme Court. State Supreme Court ruled that the city is liable. It's not a recreation, essentially a travel pass through from point A to point B. So a lot of cities, the League of Oregon cities, had a bit of a freak out when this ruling happened and all went to the state legislature. And this is the state's answer to the concerns that they came up with in the last legislative session. Cascade Locks doesn't really have this issue. We have a couple of unimproved easements and roadways, kind of back alleys where we have power lines and sewer lines that could possibly become hazards to people walking through them, but we don't have the trails leading to and from areas. Most of the trails here are outside of city limits. But just to be safe, Attorney Cleveland recommends opting into it. So.
Councilmember Baker.
And this sounds like an action item, so would we do that next time when we opt in, or is it?
Yes, if council would like, staff can put together a resolution and have it for adoption at the next council.
Councilmember Farrell.
I'm just trying to understand this. So if there was personal injury resulting from an unimproved right of way, they would then sue the state?
That I don't know, but it makes the city immune. I know that. If you would like, I can have City Attorney Cleveland present at the council meeting with the resolution.
I think it would be useful for you if someone then comes to you and says, I'm suing the city, you would know
Yeah.
how to direct.
I would just send it straight to the
Yeah.
attorney. I would even deal with it like, that's why I pay you.
Just goes to the attorney.
Yeah.
So this is just to protect, it was a big topic at the LOC conferences quite a bit, and, because the city was like, she got out of her car, she was walking down to the trail, she broke her leg, it wasn't, but this is just added protection for the city. So would it be consensus to? Okay, I'm seeing yes,
One more question.
sure,
Is there a cost for us to opt in?
no. Mm-mm.
Thank you.
All right,
City Hall roof grant updates. The city is still waiting to hear from FEMA. We were supposed to have an answer by December of 2023. We're still waiting. So this is the award for the roof replacement and installation of a generator for City Hall. We have asked Department of Energy on extension of the construction start deadline. According to that grant, we were supposed to start construction by August 4th. We're kind of at a point where I don't think it's gonna happen, even if we were awarded the grant today. We've not heard back from Odo yet, we're still waiting. The future of the project is still up in the air, so. Still waiting here on that. The Oregon Department of Health Services Resiliency Grant, the city is working with McKed to apply for 2 grants through ODHS. The goal is to increase resilience and essential services the city provides. We'll be asking for 2 generators, and 1 will be for the city hall. So this will be essentially a 3 grant project. 1 for the solar panels and the battery through Department of Energy, 1 for the roof replacement through FEMA, and 1 for the generator through ODHS. Again, all this depends on FEMA coming through with their money. The other generator will be for the Ruckle Sewer Lift Station. There is a sewer lift station that services mainly the Ruckle manufactured home facility. There's roughly 65-ish homes down there, plus a few more homes. It does not have any backup power, so the times that we have lost power, we've had to vacuum that thing out. And vacuuming those out is not cheap. It's a couple grand every single time. So that grant will be to provide a generator, hook it up to the lift station, and provide some kind of security fencing. And that one closes April 30th, so we're moving pretty quickly on that. Fire and EMS staffing. Julie Ryan will be leaving her position as a paramedic this spring. Chief Logan will begin recruitment for her replacement soon. Chief Logan has a short-term plan in place for covering the needs. She has taken a position as an instructor at Southeast Oregon Community College, Southwest Community College.
Yeah.
Starting in July, I think. So we still have it for a couple months. We'll be over that. So congratulations to Julie. Brownfield study. McKed has begun the process of identifying locations for the brownfield study. A nomination form was submitted for City Hall. If awarded, McKed will handle the majority of the work with the city assisting. I am working with Abigail Elder. She's the city manager for Hood River. She's also the county's representative for this project, to actually have a presentation done to council on what a brownfield study is and what it can accomplish. It'll probably be at this point, first week of June, if we end up rescheduling our meeting in May. Treatment next point, as I've reminded a couple times, our second council meeting in May falls on Memorial Day. Council will either need to cancel the meeting or reschedule it. And then I have a handful of things that came up in the last week. My evaluations, so far only 3 of them have been turned in. So please make sure you get those done. I don't know what new deadline council wants to set for those. We have a 3-week break between our next council meeting. So if we could get those, where's the calendar? Today's 22nd, by May 3rd, that should give the attorney plenty of time to compile the results. Is that a good deadline for remaining council members?
I suggest Friday.
That's,
I mean, just like if, from my perspective, if I had until next Friday, I'll do it next week.
It's true, it's coming.
Yeah,
Let's say this Friday. Everybody's doing that.
Right?
They were due 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. Yeah,
So this Friday,
okay, that works.
Councilmember Baker.
I respectfully request if you could resend the Word document, because the second email reminder was only the PDF and I was having the darndest time trying to fill it in. And you reminded me there was a previous Word doc.
Okay,
So if you might read, so I got it in, but only because you reminded me where to look for the Word doc.
All right, so everyone else is till Friday. All right.
last Thursday, April 18th, I traveled to Kennewick to participate in USDA Roundtable. The Undersecretary of the USDA, I can't remember his official title, was there, as well as regional administrators for the EPA, the EDA, and the USDA. We're all there. It was kind of a big pitch for President Biden and all the work he's doing to promote rural communities, which I'm not against. Rural communities need help. But allowed myself and 7 other agencies across the Northwest to talk about what we've done with our funding through the USDA. So I mentioned our funding for the wastewater plant, the water reservoir and distribution system, and I also mentioned the money we've got from the EDA as well, since they were there. There's a wide variety of projects people have got money for, from upgrading the airport in Pendleton to do the unmanned flying vehicles. The CEO of the Columbia County Hospital in Dayton, Washington was there. They have a $400,000 grant to start a daycare facility. And there was, what is the van that comes out here once a week?
Once a meeting.
One Community Health was there. They got money to update their telecommunication system. So it was across the board. It was great. Got to meet a lot of people. There was a resource fair. We attended afterwards. It was fantastic. Definitely, it was a long day, but definitely worth it. Following up on the discussion of bike lanes, I did meet with the county administrator last week. I'm not sure if it was the county roads department head, but somebody within their department's meeting with our public works staff to talk about putting bike lanes in on county roads, if it's even feasible. I guess I've never really paid attention. Our section of the road has bike lanes in it. I think I mentioned that last time, and it narrows down to see if it's even feasible, but they are gonna look at it. And then the last item, it is National Volunteer Week, April 21st and 27th. So I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge all of the city's volunteers, including all of the committee members, including the planning, tourism, charter, downtown plan, and the budget committee and the strategic plan committee. Everybody that's worked so hard in the last year to keep the city moving forward. I also want to thank all the volunteer firefighters and all the work they do. And lastly, not quite connected to the city, but all those who volunteered to pick up trash around town as well. And my final thank you is to you council members as well. I know you guys are not paid and this is a lot of work and it's a lot of stress. So thank you for all you do. And that's all I got.
Okay.
Question. Can you get clarification on the speed limit on frontage road?
55. I think about that for a second. Yeah, I talked
We
to,
did get clarification.
yes, I talked to the sheriff about that. Yeah, it's 55. Yeah.
Can we get a 55 sign on there just to let people know?
Yes, I think I talked about that. I'll follow.
You gotta encourage people to go for 55, and we all really want.
Yeah.
Some people might go 35.
Yeah.
And question on the bike lanes, I noticed that on one side of the street, they have a little bike symbol, but on the other side, there's only one painted. So are we missing some? We are missing.
Well,
some.
they're at the beginning of the bike lane.
There's one at the beginning.
Yeah,
And then on the coming back, going
yeah.
west.
Yeah.
There's more, but it's hit and miss.
I'll talk to Sheldon, see what we can do to get more.
Okay. Or maybe brighten them up or.
We do from parking in the bike lane.
Just, I guess, and there's some type of, there's gotta be a rule for that. That I noticed where they're painted, it's right after a road that connects with.
Correct, yeah.
So we're not consistent in
No,
those,
it's not.
yeah.
And I have no idea when those were originally put in.
Councilmember Keller?
I was curious what we want to do or how to figure out the Memorial Day meeting, what we should do.
It's up to council what you'd like to do. So I know I am out of town.
In the past, if it falls on a Monday, that's council, it's usually just.
Kansas. Would that be consensus of council? Do that? Okay.
Will that interrupt any important business, budget or any?
It shouldn't, no.
Okay.
If something come up, we could always have an emergency meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Pardon me? Yeah, Brenda?
You're calling me up for the other?
Well,
I had a
you did-
question on the biplanes, and just a comment that I noticed last Wednesday, because I was driving down Forest Lane, that we also have a problem with our garbage cans going in biplanes now. So if you're gonna stop the car, you need to talk to the garbage guys too, because I'm telling you, everybody's garbage cans are in the bike lanes, all the way up and down Forest Lane. So
You mean the garbage people put it there or the residents put it?
I put mine on my sidewalk and mine winds up back on my sidewalk, so I don't know, I can't say who puts them there, but I'm telling you, they wind up there.
all right, thank you. Okay. Any other, so consensus for the holiday or just, okay. Now we're going to 7C, which is city charter. I know Courtney, you had filled out a.
Yes. Thank you for allowing me to remove that. For entitlement, but I don't know how close the attention everyone's paying. We have had to cancel one charter review committee, because we didn't meet our quorum. The last charter review committee, had we not waited an extra 15 minutes for people to show up, we would have had to cancel that one also. And then trying to schedule the date for the next one was impossible. We just kind of, it's up in the air as it stands, because we couldn't coordinate enough people to meet up on a certain day, and then this room has, you know, occupancies and all that other stuff, scheduling. It was a huge conflict. We're down to 4 people on the charter review committee. I'd really appreciate it if you took a second look at those applications that are sitting there. Because as it stands, I don't know why they were denied. I mean, if there was a reason, then maybe we could figure out a workaround or something, but we don't know the next charter review committee.
Have you offered to do them on Zoom?
They are.
Yeah. So people are not attending just because they're not available.
And we had another cancellation today, like
Yeah, I
somebody said
saw that today.
So, it'd be really nice to be able to get through this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So any other discussion? Jordan, do you have anything down?
Other than the email I sent, one of the committee members, resigned.
Okay.
So we're down to 4 of the 7, possible spots are filled. We have had struggles getting the meeting to actually occur. At this point, if anybody is absent, we have to, cancel the meeting and reschedule.
Do you want to resend those applications out to me? Can you
Sure.
mail them to me?
When people sign up for that committee, were their meeting times, date times set at that point? People know what they were signing up
Don't believe
for?
it works.
I mean,
No.
I feel like, when we're applying for council, we know when council's meeting, it's easier to make a commitment if you know what the expectations are. It might, maybe, I'm not on the committee, but it might be helpful, I think, you guys figure out what the date and times are that work for you, and then set those date and times, and then at least that way the people that haven't applied yet are, we're not gonna get people to apply, and then not show up, like, that they're gonna be committing to it.
But as it sits now, there is no date and times
Set.
available for us to meet up because
We're
we're
ready to meet.
for a regular meeting, because people are busy or they know they're not gonna be able to make it. And when we first set the schedule, we said, what, 5 meetings, 4 meetings?
That was the goal, yeah.
Ahead of time, and we just kind of based it on everyone's availability, approximately every other week,
On Wednesday,
on Wednesdays.
and now Wednesdays are taken by budget.
We don't have this.
More, so we'll have this Wednesday, so you don't have this.
So the room is part of the issue. Does it have to happen in this space or can it happen in another space?
As long as we have it on Zoom, it's fine.
I think there's dual.
Yeah, you have people on both committees.
I see, so there's some overlap there. I think it's really important. That's why I'm like trying to find some solutions here, right? You know,
I agree, it's very important. Are we talking to the committee now? How many more meetings do you think you need? Three more meetings. Thank you. And have we put another call out in our social media looking for charter?
Not in the last couple of weeks now.
So maybe that would be good again, particularly since someone stepped down, and then
They just
You're gonna-
stepped down today.
review that, and I like Councilman Happy's idea, if y'all could brainstorm when you thought those next 3 meetings might be, that might help.
What did we look ahead, a month and a half?
I thought we were set for this Thursday.
It's Thursday.
I guess my calendar.
This
Yeah,
Thursday.
Thursday.
So you're reset for Thursday. Okay.
6 o'clock?
but if one person doesn't show up, the meeting doesn't
Right,
happen.
Right.
And to add a couple of people right now, we've only got one more council meeting before we take the end of May off. So you're looking at into June before council would even look at another application.
Well, unless the mayor receives some applications before our next meeting, then we could vote, because we can't.
And I can review the ones that we have.
Yeah.
And I know one of them has attended every committee meeting, so they would not be behind. So that's my concern about, we put something out at, who has not been attending the meetings, they're gonna be jumping in halfway.
If we got more applicants, could we hold an impromptu council meeting via Zoom just to vote on the, and we don't even have to vote, you can appoint them,
Yeah.
correct?
I appoint, but then council approves.
So you need to appoint, and we have to approve it. Could we do that with an impromptu Zoom?
As long as we give 24 hours notice.
24 hours notice.
Mhm.
I don't think our meeting schedule should, I don't want that to hold up
No,
their ability to get more
Right.
more members on the committee, which might help them have a quorum,
right,
so we can get this done.
okay.
And what's August?
We have to have it on to the county for the ballot by August 16th. We had set a date of May 31st to have recommendations to council. I think there is a little bit of wiggle room in there, but not much. We have to give time for the attorney to prep all the language for the ballot.
And you wanted a town hall.
Yes, the charter review committee wanted a town hall to allow people to come in and ask questions about the changes.
Okay. I'll email this to me.
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion on charter? Okay, now we're gonna go to 7D, yard debris. Brenda.
Brenda Wood again. And I have to say that I've gotten very conflicting announcements from you guys, because one announcement was that we were gonna have yard debris only at the end of the month, the last Thursday of the month, between 12:30 and 3:30, and you gave me all the dates throughout the end of the year. And then today, in here, we're talking about getting rid of yard debris. I resent the fact, like one council member saying that for us having a yard debris collection place down there was being spoon fed. For those who own homes here, out of my neighborhood, in my yard alone on Forest Lane, between everybody's trees and my one tree, I get 3 truckloads of leaves every year. And that would be 3 trips to Hood River. If we're not gonna have a yard debris collection down there, I feel like the city should have been talking to the garbage company at that time to get us a yard debris, garbage can. Like most cities, we compare ourselves to most cities except when it comes to the yard debris. See, I would like to have a yard debris can that doesn't cost me anymore, that's part of my garbage service. Because what's gonna happen, the reason I've talked to some people that lived here a long time, they started this to beautify our city because people weren't taking care of their yards. And I can tell you, my 3 truckloads of leaves will get very hard for me to haul. You know, I'm getting older, more handicapped and all these things. It's harder for people to do. So therefore, they're not gonna be as apt to clean their yards and stuff. And then we're gonna get out there and we're gonna have different people burning stuff, because it's not gonna stop burning, because that's gonna be how they get rid of their leaves and stuff, is by burning. Except instead of having one day where we have one big pile burning, we're gonna have 15 fires burning on all different days, so we'll have smoke every day. I think that if this garbage service wants to charge $30 a month for a debris can, maybe we should look at different garbage companies. I mean, this company has been the one for many of years. There's many garbage companies out there, and I don't know if they're aware of it. I don't think the one right over across the river would have a problem coming over here, you know, for some business, but I think it's time that we look, but just having no yard debris is not the answer. And I read in the, what the staff report said, and it said we actually took all the yard debris that we loaded this time around and we filled up the dump truck, the city dump truck. I can't imagine that they went around loading all this into a little truck, and they get it down there, then they fill up a dump truck, and then we got a CDL driver, a Class A CDL driver to drive the dump truck. I don't know who that is on city staff, but there's some, I don't know how much transparency. I feel like there's something missing, because the last I knew, we had no Class A CDL drivers that work for the city. And that does require a Class A CDL to drive a dump truck. So that's my say in the, about the yard debris. It was never like we were being spoon fed. It was because we were never offered any other alternative. And my grass that I take down every week, as I mow my lawn every week, that's not burned. That's just put on a compost pile down there, you know, so that's not burned. So I think we need to come up with some other solution, because as a citizen, we keep losing things. Like I've lost my city park. I have to have a sticker on my windshield. And then if I have family come and I want to take them to the park, we have to make trips to the park or pay for parking, you know, all these things that doesn't make it seem very community friendly anymore, you know. I moved here knowing that there was things that we weren't gonna have, like all these different restaurants, and we didn't have a bank. I was willing to pay that price to live in Cascade blocks around this beauty. But we keep changing things, and it keeps costing more, like we live in Portland, and that's not where we live, and we don't live in Hood River. And driving yard debris 20-something miles or even over the bridge is a lot, especially when most of your elderly people who are homeowners are not gonna be able to do that, and therefore you're gonna have crappy looking yards all around your city. As you're trying to make your downtown look beautiful, you're gonna have your residential looking crappy, so I wish you guys would think about that. Closing it is not the answer, but please, whatever you're gonna do, make sure you send out the right communication, because right now, I've got a load ready to go down Thursday afternoon between 12:30 and 3:30, but according to this, you guys are telling me it's not gonna happen, so I don't know what's going on. Thank you.
I should have.
Yes. All right, future of yard debris collection program. A brief reminder of how we got here. The City County Insurance Services, CIS, the city's insurance company, toured all city properties in December to review any liability concerns. The biggest concern was the yard debris collection pile. The city has not had proper signage, supervision, or safety regulations for the debris collection program. If someone was to get injured while unloading, the city would be liable. The lack of supervision allowed individuals to deposit any and all approved and unapproved items, another liability. A final concern from CIS is the proximity to the treatment plant. Individuals can and have thrown items into the digester pools. A lot of this can be resolved by reducing the hours it is open, commit staff, and add signage. The hours would need to be cut back drastically. An additional concern is the lack of space. The city is coming close to running out of room to store the ash debris from the burns. We will soon not be able to burn. Burning also creates health and safety hazards for staff and residents. Council held a work session on April 8th, 2024 to determine the future of the yard debris collection program. Council determined that more concrete numbers and costs were needed to make a final determination. At the end of the curbside pickup program, Public Works staff loaded the city dump truck and took it to a weigh scale. The dump truck held 2.25 tons. Public Works staff then estimated the amount of annually collected during the curbside pickup and resident dropping off debris themselves, estimated 150 tons per year. A 30-yard dumpster from Hood River Garbage holds roughly 7 tons of debris. 150 tons divided by 7 tons per dumpster, equals 22 dumpster loads. 22 dumpsters times $275 per dumpster equals $6,050 per year. 150 tons times $37.50 per ton to process at dirt huggers is $5,625. This is a total of $11,675 per year, and this does not include staff time. Armed with this new information, the city administrator and public works staff recommended completely shutting down the yard debris collection program due to the cost for hauling and lack of space for burning and environmental concerns. Options for residents to discard their yard debris include Stevenson Transfer Station, Hood River Garbage Transfer Station, and Dirt Huggers Compost. City council options: build hauling costs into 2024-25 budget, close yard debris collection program.
Councilmember Happy.
So I see only two options here, but it seemed like reading through the minutes from the workshop, that I didn't intend that there was some other discussion about other options, including having it a pay per use, where people could bring yard waste down to the yard debris collection area and pay to leave yard waste there, but I don't see that as an option that was provided. Is there a reason why that wasn't presented as an option?
Goes back to the discussion of whether that is something that needs to be taken to a vote of the people.
Well, but I think we've, this isn't something that people are mandated, that everybody has to use this service, that no one has to take advantage of it. This is something people, are coming to. Is that, why would that have to go to the vote if it's something that people?
That interpretation of that code is the first I've ever heard of it in the year and a half I've been here. To everything I've been told is any fee, no matter what it is, has to be a vote of the people. This optional charge, I've never heard of it before.
So when you charge people to come in, people come to City Hall and they want to make copies.
Yes.
Is there a fee for
From
that?
my understanding, yes, there is a fee. And from my understanding, that had to go to a vote of the people. Under that interpretation, just about every fee or charge the city does is optional,
Got it. So according to
which frees up a lot of my issues.
our understanding of the charter, there's no way to implement a service fee like that without actually putting it on the ballot.
That's the way it was interpreted.
So the only option is to have the city absorb the cost this time or shut it down entirely.
Unless council wants to use that interpretation, then we can move forward.
Councilmember Baker.
It seems that we are out of space, so keeping ours open requires these high costs because it goes into a paid dumpster and hauled to a paid disposal. I did call the Stevenson transfer station, which I hear is very close. And to confirm, yes, Cascade Locks folks can take their yard debris there. I asked her to estimate a pickup truck load. She said 25 to 75, depending on the weight. It's mostly lower. And so if we're moving to a paid service, then if our communication is clear, then hopefully more haulers will share their fees. I saw one in the Cascade Locks neighborhood watch recently that somebody said they'll pick up your yard debris. I did not call Hood River on their costs. I have understood in the past that they charge by the yard, and maybe there's a discount day on Wednesday, so that might be cheaper, and I don't know about dirt huggers. I agree, I would like to have a compost bin, but when I called Hood River, they said it's all or nothing, and it was going to be about $30 a month. And again, that would be difficult for those who don't want that. I hadn't thought about, is there a company, would the company in Stevenson offer just optional yard debris bins? It is great to have them picked up and I don't think this price is sustainable, let alone, this is without staff time, $11,675 per year, not even including staff. To move the garbage to yard debris out of Cascade Locks, we don't have the space anymore. So again, I feel that we need clarification in our message and that if we're going to a 4-paid option, maybe a little more research on could we get some yard debris waste, but if we're going to a 4-pay option, I recommend that we don't pay city staff who are overworked anyway to do this, and they're getting PERS in retirement, and, you know, we have individuals pay private yard debris pickup people. So that is my recommendation, but it does need to be this body's decision, and whatever we do, you know, clarity to the community, and then we check back in. Is it costing our neighbors helping one another so that those that can't afford it, are getting their yard debris out too? And again.
Okay.
I guess I had mentioned, I don't remember if it was the work session or a previous meeting we discussed this, there seemed to be a confirmed consensus of council that they did not want to continue burning because of the health issues and the smoke issues, so that's why that option is not here.
I think there's also, and just to clarify that point, is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was also just due to the fact you didn't have a place to put the
Yes,
ash and the concerns from CIS.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the reason why that was just like,
Yeah, sorry, that wasn't even an option.
the health and safety aspect, I mean, it's, you know, I don't want, I mean, I have ash literally falling on my house, as do we all. But I don't see us getting rid of our burn pile as necessarily fixing that, because I think we're gonna see other burning happening. I just wanted to say that the concerns and frustrations have been brought up by everybody here, like, we feel it, we know it. I don't see that there's really a good answer, that's gonna make everybody happy, and, but I think $11,000, you know, a year is unsustainable, and the city really can't absorb that.
At least right now. Maybe in the future, but not right now.
Councilmember Farrell?
I was looking through last year's budget and stuff, and we have 6,000 that's budgeted for support community programs. I would be all for whatever money's budgeting for the next year, let that go towards pickup. That's a community function. Very few people come and ask us for money anymore. We have businesses that don't need to do that, that are organizing events for kids and families. And anyway, that would be my suggestion. That would get us more than halfway there and work the rest out in the budget.
I do know, it's tough to make decisions as council. I always say, go back to what we do know. CIS says we can't. You know, they have a concern insurance wise. So I know we all love the convenience of the burn pile and everything, but there might get to a point where we just can't. Burning it, we don't have any place to put ash, so we already know that. So, and then the extra costs, you know, as far as taking money out of the community fund, you know, there's a lot of agencies that, you know, have come to me that said, we don't even want to ask council because it's so hard. They're beat up so much when they come and ask. So, and that pot's been diminished. It used to be 10,000. We cut the community funds by $4,000 last year. And I know costs everything have gone up. Our property taxes haven't gone up. We're not keeping up as a city with fees. So to incur more fees, it just doesn't make sense. We don't have the luxury of it. We just don't. So that's my stand on that.
I was just wondering, our garbage contract that we have with River Garbage, does that prevent anybody from picking up yard waste in the city limits?
I'm not sure, I have to check the language on that.
Our contract with the River Garbage, they are the sole provider.
Refuse pickup, correct?
The solid waste, yeah.
A solid waste, would yard debris fall in?
Solid waste.
Can we get clarification on that? Cause I think it would be good to know if this is an opportunity where a private entity outside of HRG could provide this service. Or would they be, prevented from doing that by the contract we have with them regard?
Councilmember Baker.
And I know that this 11,000 figure is, $675 is large, and yet we don't have, it says plus staff time. Did you get an estimate on that, Jordan?
If we go to that model, it'd be significantly less. Where it's, I didn't do the numbers, but if we're just open once a month for a couple hours, collecting it, making sure it all fits into the dumpster, calling Hood River Garbage to come drop off a new one, take the old one out. I don't know, but probably looking at, I don't know, 4 hours a month, 5 hours, not a huge amount.
So $150 to $200 a month.
Yeah.
Councilmember Keller.
It seems, I'm trying to visualize a 7-ton yard debris bin. How do you get clippings up and over? How do you get limbs up and over? Because the ones at the garbage days are enormous. I mean, it's hefty to get up there. And if you can't like throw a whole bag of grass clippings over, a whole bag of, like, how does, like, is it?
Usually on the big dumpsters, they open up the tail end, and so people, you can walk in and dump so far and get it that way, and then they close it up.
Yeah, there would be some staff time in pushing things up and to the back, so there's more room, but yeah, it is doable.
Oh, and then, sorry, I don't understand, I don't feasibly see anybody coming to Cascade Lodge cheaper than $30 a month for yard debris.
I wish that,
It's really expensive.
it'd be great if we could just say, we'll pass the, whatever the cost is on to the people that are using the service, but unfortunately, it sounds like our hands are tied and we aren't able to do that. When I went down there to drop off yard waste, they had a excavator there. Was it just because they were burning or is it always there?
Probably because they're burning.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not always there.
The issue with that one is we have no system to collect the funds down at the pile. We don't have a waste scale, even if it was a flat rate, we don't have the systems in place to collect the funds. So unless I guess we could do some kind of voucher system, they come pay for it here first and have to show it the receipt at the collection site, but.
And Stripe works on a cell phone.
What's that?
Stripe works on a cell phone.
I don't know if.
I'm sure we can find a solution.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the bigger issue is the charter that
Correct.
restricts our ability to, we can figure out a way to get money,
Yeah.
to collect money from people.
And again, if folks are paying to go dump in our site, which is already full, and we have to add extra staff time. And Stevenson is not that far, and apparently they're open Thursday to Sunday, like 11 to 4 or something, I'd have to look again. It's encouraging that and letting people know that's available. I mean, it's not that much further to drive there. If you're driving it already and paying already, there's somebody already set up to do that. And we're not set up to do that, and we're getting too full.
So the challenge is we can't technically charge. We can't afford to pay for it. It's a health hazard to burn on that. I know, there was one event and when they were burning, just the wind, just literally almost the entire event got almost canceled because it was just literally, they were in a smoke bank, so. But that's a whole separate point. Bottom line is, we don't have any place with the ash. We can't charge. And insurance, most important, insurance is saying, no, we can't. Leave it
We
unmanned.
can, but we substantially have to change substantially how it
Right,
operates.
right. We have to have it manned. We can't continue. Brenda, you've
I
already.
just have another question, just for consideration. And when you guys are deciding this, like someone like me that's gotta run to the yard debris, maybe I don't have to have my garbage service with them, because if I'm going to the dump, can I just take my garbage at that time? I should be where I don't have to.
No, that goes in.
So that opens up a whole nother thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, it's a whole nother, so that's why I wanna keep everybody
I
to,
got it.
you know, otherwise we start going down rabbit holes.
Mm-hmm.
So if we even just had it once a month, certain time, once a month, how much is that costing the city? And is it okay with CIS?
On the high end, $12,000. That is on the high end. We assume if it is once a month, the amount we collect would go down,
Mhm.
but if we're not burning it, we still gotta haul it off somewhere.
So it's gonna cost us one day a month, so it's still 11,000. Yes,
I said that's, if that's what is traditionally been brought in, yes.
I think that 11,000 is probably,
It is on the high.
It's
Yes,
high. And I think that our actual costs would probably be much lower, and that's just my feeling, I'd be curious to see how much we're actually collecting when, when I've gone down there, I don't see that much stuff being dropped off. I think, this last yard waste collection was very widely participated in because the feeling was that this may be the last time people are gonna come pick this stuff up. So using that to estimate the actual cost for the yard waste collection program may be, a bad data point, is my feeling. I guess I'm more of proposing that we see how much is being collected and use that, actually keeping some data and use that to make a more accurate, estimate, I think would be better than to make an estimate based off of the yard waste collection that took place at people's curb
this year.
this year.
Mhm.
And this year through the fiscal year, are you thinking, or?
No, what I'm saying was that this $11,000 was driven from, an estimate that was based off of the yard waste collection that took place, just this last, few weeks ago, right? And I think that it was pretty widely participated in because people were afraid that might be the last time they could do this for free. So to use that as a data point to try to make an estimate of our actual annual cost for yard waste collection, I think would be heavily skewed on the high end. I think we'd be well served to implement the recommendations of CIS, restrict the hours, make sure it's staffed, and while they're there, actually keep track of how much yard waste we're actually collecting, and then get a more accurate estimate of what the cost is to the city for offering that service as a community service, and maybe looking at shifting some funds from our community one fund to cover the cost of yard waste collection could be a viable option if we see that our actual cost is gonna be under $5,000.
Well, since I don't think we have a budget for this at all right now to.
Right.
So even if we did this proposed data collection, it's going to cost us. So we need to have a limit. If whether it's the 6,000 community funds, we will do this until 6,000 is spent. And see if that's 1 month or 2 months,
But that takes. a
because
whole
we
vote.
can't continue to do the data collection that's costing us money that we didn't budget for.
I think, what did Jordan say, $250 to $300 a month if we're doing
For,
yard waste collection, if it was just, you just said $250 to $300 a month
That's
for
staff.
staff time,
for the staff time, correct?
that's, just for the collection side of it, yeah.
But it goes in a bin and then it gets hauled away.
Yeah.
And that costs money.
Yeah, we could,
Well, but we're not out of room to burn yet. That's the thing, we're not out of room to burn yet,
there's
correct?
some room left.
So I'm just saying we could,
Small amount.
yeah, I mean, we run this till the next city council meeting at the beginning of May. The amount of yard waste that's collected between now and then could be burned on site and not have to be hauled off, so there's no additional cost. The only thing we're paying for is the staffing to have somebody there, and we actually get more accurate estimate for what how much we're actually collecting.
That would be one collection at the end of the month,
And what hours do you have that?
12:30 to 3:30.
Is. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, going off of your point, because we just had this giant curbside pickup, this current month is probably gonna be skewed on the smaller side.
That's true. I don't think you can make a good estimate off of either
No,
one of
no,
those data
if-
points.
if- if I'm following you, it would make the most sense to do it once a month for the next 12 months. Yes, we're gonna collect some stuff and then we can figure out how to get rid of it. We have the room for the storage right now. Maybe we build it into the 25-26 budget, whatever that looks like. But it definitely can't be indefinite.
Councilmember Keller?
What does that cut away from the public works department? Though that 4 hours,
Really, if some kind of emergency comes up, if a water line is broke, I mean, they would schedule around it at this point. It would be an emergency situation that they need all 3 staff members.
I guess what I mean, it seems that they're already overworked.
Correct.
So if we're taking 4 hours from an already overloaded plate, what is gonna get cut?
At this point, I'm not sure. I have to talk to the staff more. But those 3 hours for 1 month, 1 day a month, they did not have an issue with it. They were perfectly comfortable. It's after meter reading is done, so it wouldn't cut into that.
Councilmember Farrell?
They're no longer doing the, every 6 month, come to your house pickups, right?
That's up to
I thought-
council. I mean,
Okay, well, I thought that-
obviously, if we close the program, then yes, correct. I mean,
Okay,
if we're not gonna collect it, we know it, but
There's 5 days, 2 times a year that we were paying them that they won't be doing.
correct.
So we're gonna be ahead, I think, and doing that computation. And the other thing is, like Councilor Happy said, was that this was a really big one. And remember, we have months that is snow and no one's out there hauling stuff down. They're just waiting until spring comes back. So not the same 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's what Jordan brought up, a good point. Really, to get an accurate estimate, we need to be,
It's gotta be a whole year.
yeah, because you're gonna have these huge fluctuations from month to month, season to season.
Councilmember Baker?
As you mentioned, then I was reminded of the burn issue. I think it might have been a bike race or something, and it was many people attended, local and out of town, and they were quite put off, and their event was not as successful because of that burn, and it was mentioned by staff, sort of maybe in passing, they were surprised that EPA hasn't shut us down. So I don't know if our insurance company is gonna check. It doesn't seem to be, to me, sustainable or in good community faith to continue burning in an area that we hope is getting developed, that we hope is bringing in money.
We're only gonna be burning though for a little bit of time, and then we'll have burning, we'll be home.
But that's now going to happen during the summer season of events.
To address the burning, we did, Jordan and I had a conversation, and just as if there was a big event, again, that city would be notified and they can help coordinate that. So they're not burning in the burn pile when there's gonna be 400 people in
Yeah.
town.
Or that isn't ever going either.
Mhm.
No. Councilmember Happy?
We want to burn, do we have to get a burn permit?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the city, yeah, I was just curious, because I mean, imagine, hey, for any resident, they have to get a permit, there's requirements for them to burn. I mean, so, anyway, all right, thank you.
So it sounds like for now, if we kept it open 1 day a month, do it for the next, remainder of the year.
Yeah.
Then we would get it, and it could be monitored, we could figure out how much, then we would have a better.
Yep.
And CIS would be okay as long as it's manned down there.
Yeah, we can add some signage and have it manned.
Okay.
And they're gonna start to keep track of how much people are dropping off, so we can get some data?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the best metric would be. The only thought I can think of off the top of my head is take pictures after, and when it closes, you know, here's the pile that was collected for the month of April. And then here's the pile collected for the month of May. I mean, without having a scale on site, I don't know how else to, other than eyeball.
I mean, that's what they do when you go to Hood River Garbage, they eyeball it, that's
Oh,
what
do
they
they?
give you, I mean, they just eyeball it, to tell you about how many yards you have. And they know, like, if your truck is full, it's, you know, 3 yards, or, yeah, so I imagine that they could maybe use the same standard that HRG does to.
How many people come?
Yeah.
So if you keep your comments, there's time to talk here. I know, we're right, no, that's
I
not,
don't know what's being
I-
discussed,
but-
obviously.
I know, but just through it, we've got to follow rules, otherwise, yeah. All right, Mr. Keller,
That was fine.
okay. Councilmember Miller?
Yeah, I'd also like to find out this summer, what increase in burn permits that we give to citizens that they buy, because, that will show us if they're burning at home or,
And if more people are burning at home.
yeah,
Well, there's only gonna be another month or so of burning.
well, no, I mean, right now, people have burn permits, but if they get cut back on how many times they can drop and stuff, and they'll get a burn permit at home.
Well, yes, well, sorry, Chief Logan will end the burning when it becomes too dangerous to drive.
Yeah,
But yeah, we can track number of permits sold.
yeah.
Councilmember Farrell?
Dumpster days is coming up soon, if I remember right.
First weekend in May, yes.
Should we ever make a decision as a council on whether we were taking the garbage company up on having a dumpster for burnables?
I thought we did, yes.
So
We're doing an
that
extra-
will
we were
be
doing an
an
extra-
option too, it's included in our contract.
Correct. Yeah, they're donating an extra dumpster just for yard.
And that's already in our budget, dumpster day.
It's in our contract.
It's in our
Yeah,
contract.
and we don't pay.
We don't
the
pay for
service. No, yeah, it's,
Okay,
It's
thank you.
part of the contract.
Yep.
Okay, any other comments?
so just.
I was gonna
clarify,
say, can you
consensus of
recap?
council to do a 12-month trial of a once-a-month collection, with the metric still be determined to measure how much is collected each month, as well as tracking burn permits, follow up with council on the results 12 months from now, so April, March of next year.
You're gonna add signage,
Yes, add signage, yep.
signage and posts, so everyone knows what
Yep.
day, what
Yep.
time.
And do we know those date and times? Can we say that now?
It'll be the last Thursday of each month.
12:30 to 3.
Yeah, 12:30 to 3:30, except for November, because that falls on Thanksgiving.
Sound like consensus? Is Jordan missing anything?
Run
Okay, I think we got through it. Okay, mayor and council comments. Councilmember Keller. you go
I have a
first?
few concerns from citizens that have addressed me in the last 2 weeks. One, Fisherman's Cove Development, I don't know what the proper name of the street is, but it's the property just north of Frame down along the river. What's going on? There's concerns about how close the development and the construction is to the river and who's going to enforce that. As it goes, it's quite close to the river embankment. Second, the port was working on a grant for windows, and it was deemed that it was not an economic development for them. I didn't know if we could talk to Genevieve and get that grant. It was for people in poverty and low-income families to get energy efficient windows. And then, is there a way that we could contact our congressman or senator's office to call FEMA and ask for a little giddy up on that FEMA grant? Obviously, it wouldn't be them, but maybe one of their staff could give us a call. With all them, or me.
Thank you. Councilmember Baker?
Thank you. I appreciate, again, volunteer Appreciation Week. I want to appreciate all the volunteers all the time. We have some official ones in committees and some who show up a lot. And, you know, our food bank, the salt volunteers yesterday, a lot of, just thank you. And this body as well. I have been a part of councils where there's a small stipend and it dawns on me that some folks might have to pay caregivers. And so it's not just committee members and, I mean, volunteers on committees are charted, but they actually spend money. I know that as well, and thank you for all that you do. I wanted to point out that, I did hear from a kid, and I'm meeting with somebody, we're setting up a time now to get my bearings, so that's great. I wanted to say that there's been ongoing discussion since I've been on council about Forest Lane, transportation, bike lanes, and again, I appreciate, City Minister Bennett's talking to county and possibly ODOT, that was brought up last time about the bike lane and, east wind people, like how do we solve that? And that's ODOT. Is it something we want to consider a transportation committee? And I know it's hard to fill committees, but we have some people excited about bike lanes and to follow up on some of these things, or do we just keep talking about it? I don't want us to wait until there's a problem. You know, I don't want anybody to get hit. I want to say a great shout out to the Tourism and Beautification Committee. They did a great job. It's the first year of doing the Earth Day. And I think it was a lot of nice activities. They got some businesses involved. I also want to shout out to the PTO. Again, I think it was another successful casino night, brings in sort of fun activity as well as hopefully they're raising some money. And I do want to point out that I shared the minutes of the July 23rd city council meeting where we had questions to our city attorney who pointed out that a council member can be in a committee and share their opinion. And I know there was some discussion about different points of view. And in our handbook, it says there should be a full discussion of opinions and differences. After a decision has been made and a vote taken, that decision is the official decision of council. Council members should not criticize other council members or staff for acting on a decision with which a council member does not agree. And that in the Oregon government ethics law, that ethics for government officials, city councilors, conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest is defined as and when participating official action would or could result in financial benefit or detriment to the public official. So I've even talked to the Oregon Ethics Commission, called them about ethical behavior, and it's financial there. And then we have some on council decorum. I submitted this to be put in the minutes. It is something that's published. This council handbook is found online. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for sharing their different opinions, and I appreciate the respect and decorum while we have different opinions. And so I want to say thank you for that. And if you noticed, if folks know that the tourism committee puts out their flash report and they're looking for people to submit their events by this Thursday, I think. And that there is a heritage. I saw that there's a heritage meeting at the Gorgeous, looks like a statewide heritage meeting at Gorgeous this Thursday. And if anybody's interested, you can reach out to me. I see it in the emails. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Farrell?
Thank you, Brenda, for once again doing the garage sale coordinating. I think we're getting bigger numbers pretty much each year, so that's great. Wasn't quite sure, Councilor Keller, what you meant with the windows. I know when I did window replacement, I did get a reimbursement for the city, and they gave me the rebate, thank you. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but there is something like that. Yes, the bike lane east wind, This weekend it happened to me, I was coming, there was a vehicle that went over the line, and even though I was coming in the other direction and I had the right of way, I was in my lane and he was not. If I didn't stop, I was gonna get hit head on.
Hmm.
So I don't know solutions, have East Wind get out there and have, someone that they're paying out there directing the traffic, and when people go over, they tell them they have to go park and then walk up to order. Yeah. That's all I can think of as a solution. A few people have gotten on me about the bike lane decision on Forest Lane. What if they have a family gathering, a barbecue, and now people can't park and they're gonna have to go further, and this particular person does not live very close to a side street, so it's gonna be quite a little trek for somebody carrying a thing of tamales or whatever. So I'm really concerned about that decision. And Mayor Fallon is correct that it is not marked as much as it should be, because I've driven it and I'm like, yeah. So as far as reminders for people, but, and that's all I got.
Okay, Councilmember Miller?
Yeah, I'd like to thank staff for all their work that they do for us, keep us informed. I'd like to thank Brenda and Tiffany and Ms. Sabatsky and Courtney for testifying in front of us today. We always appreciate people coming here and letting us know what they're thinking. Thinking about the East Wind, it's been a popular spot there for forever, so could we get a temporary no left turn sign or something that we put in, have them set in the middle of the road so people that are eastbound won't turn left into their parking lot? That would be one thing. Or do we tell them, you're getting too busy up here, you need to get somebody outside and direct the traffic for your business? You know? But I would like to see like maybe a no left turn off the street into their parking lot from the eastbound lane. And that's all I got.
Councilmember Happy?
Well, I just appreciate everybody's participation and discussion about the yard waste collection program. A lot of opinions and thoughts on this subject, and I think that it's very important for us to hear the thoughts and opinions of the people in the community, and brainstorm some solutions. And I know that there's debate isn't always clean and simple, and sometimes people get emotional, and but what I hear when I hear that is just passion. There's people that we care about our community, we care about where we live, care about having nice yards. We don't want to, take that away from us. I hear that. So I appreciate Mr. Bennett for coming up with another solution as opposed to the two that were presented originally. And maybe finding a more of a long-term solution after we get some more data. So appreciate that. And thank you to everybody for, I think it's for not only your volunteering, but I think it's also worth mentioning that many of us have spouses that are at home with their kids. I wouldn't be able to be here if I didn't have the support from my spouse. And I know other people here also do as well. So while they may not be volunteering, they're also supporting the community as well. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you to staff and the packet and always keeping us in line and keeping us informed. So really appreciate that. Thank you to Mr. Bennett for bringing up National Volunteer Week. It is a big thing. There's so many volunteers in town, from committees to, there's just so many that we don't even hear of or know. So I really want to thank and appreciate everyone for volunteering. Council, I appreciate all your time, and it's a big commitment, and I know we're not getting paid, but everyone, we all have differences of opinions, but at the end of the day, we all want a nice, safe, clean community, and those are things we can all agree. Tourism, great job with Earth Day. I thought they did great. on that. Congratulations to Julie on her new position. I'm sorry to see her go. But, you know, it sounds like a good opportunity for her. Thank you, Brenda, once again for heading up the garage sale. I know that's a big thing. I loved seeing the poster on the bridge. And I thought that was cool. I thought that is gonna bring in some business. And also to encourage everyone, Councilman Keller, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it 10 o'clock tomorrow morning the auction closes? PTO, I think it is, but if you go online to the PTO, their auction is online. They're not getting a whole bunch of bids and they have some really fun stuff that baking mixes, Tammy, so. But anyway, I encourage everyone to get online, check it out and just bid and support them as much as you can. And then what else? I think that's it. So, but really just want to appreciate and thank the council for all your time and volunteering. And couldn't do it without you. So at that point, I think I'm done. And we need a motion to close the meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? All right, vote.
Councilmember Emmeline Baker.
Aye.
Farrell.
Aye.
Happy.
Aye.
Keller.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Mayor Fel.
Aye. Close.
There's a clip that I-